coming to you from the My Little Falls studio here in beautiful Little Falls, New York. It's your host, Scott Kinville, and another episode of Marty's Illegal Stick.
Hey, what's up, hockey fans, and welcome to episode number 29 of Marty's Illegal Stick. 29 episodes. I can't believe we made it 29. I'm astounded.
Yeah. I'm astounded your dad hasn't answered one question correct in 29 episodes.
He's probably not going to get this one either, so don't worry about it.
I figured that.
I already wrote it down.
Oh, you wrote it down?
Yeah.
You have the script. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't want me cheating again.
Well, we got to watch you with your phone. That's
Yeah.
we're going off the rails already.
Yeah, already.
All right. So, anyways, I'm Scott Kinville, and we got a really super cool guest on today, a fellow video show guy. So this is going to be awesome. First of all, I'm going to bring in my co-host, as always, sitting right across from me, my father, the Gumper, Mr. Leo Kinville. What's going on?
How you doing, son? I'm just trying to beat the heat.
Beat the heat? Well, you can't
play hockey when it's just hot.
Right. Well, yeah, you can actually in some places.
Well, yeah, not good. You don't get good ice.
Well, they play in Dallas.
I don't care what they say. Well, yeah, Dallas.
They play in Arizona.
But that's up high. There's snow in the mountains.
Okay.
Vegas?
Yeah, well, that too.
Oh, keep it up, guys. Keep it up. You know, I'm trying to say I like to play in the cold. You hear this? Starting out already.
All right.
Well, we don't want you to get too overheated just yet, so we'll back off you. And to my left is our producer, Mr. Dave the Save Warner. So speaking of Texas, sounds like you're going to be catching some air pretty soon.
Headed there in a few hours. Yeah.
Really?
By beyond this time tomorrow, I'll be eating some barbecue.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for you.
I hope you don't get a nap on the plane.
Wow.
I'm going to need a nap on the plane, considering the time
Well,
I'm
he
going to get
started
up.
on me.
Well, hey, turn about his fair play. Right.
He knows where to hit the old guys, though. Nap time.
Well, it takes one to know one, right? I mean,
yeah, well, you got me on that one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here, back to the corners, guys.
Yeah, sorry.
All right. So, anyways, Jeremy Roberts, our other co-host, will be joining us a little bit later on. He's running a little bit late today. This time change has really screwed him up. So, that's okay. We forgive him for now. Anyways, I'm going to bring our guest in.
He meant the fact that your dad's looking at you like, what time change? Daylight savings time.
Yeah,
Tom.
but that was a while back. I mean, he ain't woke up from that yet?
No, we're talking about we're recording at 5 o'clock instead of 6:30.
Oh, okay.
All right, you're good now.
You keep it up. I'm going to put it back in the penalty box. He's gone. He's done. You're in the sin bin, pal. That's it.
I think we got another Zamboni Time Machine in the works here.
Yeah, we do.
So, anyways, that notwithstanding, I'm going to bring our guest in. Our guest is the host of the Reile Talk show. Super cool dude, fellow hockey guy. Loving having him on. Mr. Dom Reile. What's going on, Dom?
Gentlemen, thank you for having me. I appreciate not much I can do to topple the laughs you guys just brought me in with, so I appreciate that.
And that was mild.
Yeah, I kind of figured. I was waiting for it to get off the rails.
Yeah.
Well, you mean it isn't already? Wow.
It's off.
That's awesome.
So, Dom, tell us a little bit about your show.
Sure, yeah. So basically when everything happened, started getting shut down, season ended, I would like to consider myself one of the biggest Comets fans in the area. I have season tickets to the Comets. I've only missed 2 games in the past 5 years, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's including road games. I have AHL TV. I watch them all. I'm kind of crazy about it. So I just miss talking hockey with people, and I'm sure you guys have a chance to get to the odd. It's kind of a small community around here when it comes to hockey. So the thing that I missed the most, honestly, was just getting out of my seat, walking to the Horton room, grabbing a beer, and talking hockey with whoever. So I just fired up my computer, started talking to myself, and before I knew it, a bunch of buddies started joining me, and went from a couple of my buddies to some ex-NHL players.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I play hockey with one of your co-hosts, Brad Jones.
Jonesy's the best, man. He's back over in Switzerland. He's awesome. I didn't realize you guys played together. That's awesome.
Yeah, he plays for the Taverniers. I play for Killebrew with Jeremy in the Clinton League. So he's known as Jesus up there, and you can imagine why.
Yes. Yeah. Jonesy, Brad Jones is a sports enigma. He can do it all. It's kind of incredible.
Well, yeah, it's that long brown hair, the long brown beard. You put sandals in a robot. I swear to God, people thinking you can walk on water.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm kind of bummed he's already back in Switzerland doing his thing on the gridiron, playing football over there. But he loves it. So what can you do?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, every time we play pickup, he wears the Anze Kopitar Slovenia jersey.
Yes. Yeah.
And he knows I'm a big Kings fan, so I keep telling him, I'm like, one of these days we might have to get into a fight so I can try to pull that jersey over you.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That would probably be about the last thing I did because I think I'd get about to the jersey. And then the ambulance would have to come get me, so that's okay.
Yeah,
I don't want it that bad.
That's awesome.
So when did you get into hockey?
All right, yeah. So my whole intro to hockey is just kind of, I guess it's really similar to a lot of kids, when it comes to their dads. I remember my dad was a huge Rangers fan when I was growing up. He played a little hockey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good man. I like your father already.
Yeah. Well, Scott's got the one up on us being a Kings fan. Unfortunately, I still have PTSD of that Alec Martinez goal every once in a while.
Did I tell you that's not really my son? I just fake it.
Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, I love to tell the story. I told it to Barry Shelley when I was on with him in the Rink of Dreams, but my dad would always do this thing where he would put my younger siblings to bed. He'd order pizza and we'd just sit up and watch the Rangers game or sit up and watch Saturday or hockey night in Canada, rather, on Saturday nights through the season. So right from there, I've always had an emotional attachment to the game. It followed me the rest of my life. I went away to SUNY Canton for college, massive hockey town with St. Lawrence University and Clarkson up there. It's just stuck. So for me, having the great hockey we've had in the area, both we talked a little bit before we started recording, the Utica College Pioneers, now the Comets, and then all the other teams. We had the Prowlers. I remember going to Prowlers games when I could barely walk. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and now here we are, and it's a game where the community's kind of small, our fan base is kind of small, but as you said, we can pretty much talk hockey with just about anybody, and that's something I've always loved about the game. So.
Absolutely. I'm actually old enough to remember going to Mohawk Valley Stars games.
Yeah.
That's how old I am. But, it's funny you mentioned that about watching, hockey back in the day because really, I mean, back then we didn't have you didn't have NHL TV. You didn't have AHL TV. If you were lucky, you got Hockey Night in Canada. I do remember the Ranger games being on WOR. I remember that. And then MSG came along. And so, I mean, I was, growing up, at first I was an Oilers fan. And then when Gretzky got traded, because I was a big Wayne Gretzky guy, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I got into the game, 80, 81, something like that. So
good time.
Go figure, right?
I love, I actually wanted to mention, speaking of, I've always appreciated the name of the show. I think it's terrific.
I tell you, that's, I get kind of nervous sometimes, though, because I don't know if I want Marty to find out or not. I don't know how he's going to take it.
He's a good sport. He might like it,
Well, it's funny because I don't think I told you the story, but we have at the end of our show, we have our Zamboni Time Machine, which is our little history trip. And it turns out that the Zamboni company is, kind of protective about their trademark with that. So I actually had to get a hold of them to use permission for they let me use it. They didn't give me any problems about it. And the girl I was talking to, she said, yeah, she goes, geez, I know Marty. He's a real nice guy. I'm like, oh, well, listen, do me a favor. Don't say anything, okay?
Yeah, don't mention it.
Just keep that between us.
Yeah, you never know how some of those, especially the enforcement types, are going to be off the ice. Sometimes they're, salt of the earth kind of guys. Another time they're a little crazy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, it's funny you say that, but usually a lot of the times the big tough guys are the biggest teddy bears off the ice.
Yep, absolutely.
For instance, a few weeks ago, we had Dale Purrington on.
Oh, yeah.
And, I'll tell you, you look at him, you're like, oh, my God,
Right.
But I'll tell you what, nicest guy on the planet. Super
I
guy.
have to go back and check that one out. I have to give that one a listen because that's probably pretty interesting. I'll tell you a good story about a local kid from around here. His name's Joey Holmes. He's actually an official with a team with USA Hockey ODP. He's down in St. Louis. And he was on my show telling me a story about how he threw a kid out of the game just for a parent to come banging on his door or on the door in the locker room, screaming, trying to chase him down the hallway. It was Al McGinnis. It was Al McGinnis's kid.
Oh, jeez.
He didn't get a hockey stick and try to shoot a slap shot at him, did he?
No. He said he was going ballistic. The guy goes, "Oh, I can't believe Al's so mad." And they're like, "Al, what do you mean, Al?" He's like, "No, it's Al McGinnis." Like, what?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Your kid's back in the game. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My mind. It's all good.
It's great. Not the guy you want mad at you, that's for sure.
No, not quite. And speaking of local hockey, here he is. Our other co-host is now in the show. I think he's about to get pulled over. He's driving while he's.
Yeah.
Is driving while podcasting illegal?
Yeah. Let me tell you something.
I don't think so. Tell you the truth.
Yeah, we do it all.
This guy, he is the Swiss Army knives of podcasters. What's up, Jeremy?
Oh, nothing much. How you doing?
Good. So we're talking some local hockey here with Dom. We're just about to get talking about some Pioneers and stuff. So I was telling him how, because you guys both know Coach Heenan.
Yep.
And before the show started, we were talking about just what a fantastic job he did with the on the TV with when the Comets being on WPNY. Just analytical, unbelievable.
I've broken his chop saying, are you trying to like retire early or what are you doing here?
That's awesome. He could though. He really could. I mean, if he really wanted to say I'm done coaching, he could easily go into that. Did you just cut somebody off?
No, I'm like
the fans of the show.
Yeah. I have Marty's illegal stick stuck all over my car right now.
He's got a light that says broadcasting live right now.
And in a roundabout way, it was Al McKinnis that he just cut off.
I was a little nervous when he told that story too, because I cut it out and posted it on Instagram. I was worried his kid was going to see it and send it to him.
Oh, jeez.
That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. I did see your show there with Barry on the Rink of Dreams Sunday night, and Barry's a great friend too. I mean, he does such a fantastic job with what he does.
Yeah.
And,
yep.
All the props in the world to Barry. And you guys were talking about something that's always kind of struck me over the years is, to me, people don't realize just what a hockey hotbed New York State really is. I mean, if you stop and think about it, I mean, you guys were just talking about just along the thruway. You got your 3 AHL teams, right? Yep. But, I mean, look at the college. You have Utica College here, obviously, but you have Hamilton. You have Colgate. Go north. You got Clarkson, St. Lawrence. Then you got Cornell. You got UPI, or RPI, Union. I mean, it's
Colgate.
You forgot about Colgate.
Colgate. I thought I said that.
No,
it's
Cornell.
You said Cornell.
Did I? Oh, yeah. My bad. Sorry, Colgate. Sorry, Big Red. I apologize. Yeah. But I mean, it's unbelievable just how much, and Morrisville too. Don't forget that.
Absolutely.
Potsdam played too.
Potsdam, yes.
Potsdam does have it. Yeah, I when I was at Canton, when I was at SUNY Canton, we used to go to every chance you could get into a St. Lawrence University Clarkson game. You could.
Oh yeah,
because it was just unbelievable atmosphere. Either place, Clarkson University's arena is a little nicer, but there's something about those small old barns that they had for St. Louis. Or St. Lawrence, rather. It kind of almost reminds you of the Odd in a way, or like the Clinton Arena, where it's just you get the sounds that you don't get in these new buildings. It's just not the same.
Yep. And that's just it. I mean, and that applies for pretty much any building. Because I'll tell you, even like the NHL arenas, the brand new ones, they're beautiful buildings. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
All the amenities, you can get anything you want. It's, there's no spilled beer on the seats, nothing like that. But there's nothing like those old buildings. I mean, it's just they're so. Even watching it on TV. Like, I miss seeing games like from the Boston Garden.
How loud was Montreal last night?
Oh, my God.
I mean, it was loud, but I just wish it was full.
I know. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Even for how little a guys, I've said this before, and I'm sorry. We talked about how my dad was a good guy for being a Rangers fan, but I'm going to pour a little water on that fire quick. I'm a huge Rangers fan, and the Garden's great, but man, it goes exactly what we're talking about. It's just doesn't have it. Playoffs is one thing, but during the regular season, it's just a little too quiet, a little too nice. It's not down and dirty.
I agree.
Yeah, ever since the transformation too, right? I mean, it's a
concert hall.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's multi-purpose. They designed it for everything, really.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
That's what I like about the old Buffalo Odd.
Yeah.
The old Buffalo Odd was a hockey building, period.
I got an argument over the weekend about the Nassau Coliseum closing. They're like, oh, it's got to go. It's a dump. And I'm like, but did you even hear it during the playoff game? That thing is, it blew the top off. And it's a dump, but still, those old barns have, like you said, have nothing like a sound of a regular game anymore.
Yeah. One of my co-hosts, Andrew Katz, he's from Long Island. He was at the game. He was at Game 4, and it was just, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Man,
that's a place I wish I could have got a chance to go to a game badly.
Yep, I agree.
Right. I mean, I saw a concert there once. I never got there for a game, but even for the concert, it was just unbelievable. I mean, you knew it was a dump, but it was something special.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
Right.
It's like how the Odd used to be 10 years ago. It was a dump, but it was our dump.
It was our dump.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And well, I'll tell you though, speaking of the odd, it's nice to see that they got, starting to make a little bit more progress with the Nexus Center too.
Yeah. I actually, I saw the comments too today posted they slapping some red paint on the walls.
Yeah.
I
I
gotta tell you, somebody's gonna make a lot of money because that's a lot of paint that's got to be done.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be brutal.
I couldn't even imagine that.
Yeah, but no. Back to your point, I'm happy they're going to make some progress with the Nexus Center, though. That's huge for the area, especially for the younger kids.
Absolutely.
It's so huge, and it's just great in general, really.
Yeah, it is, and it solidifies kind of what you were talking about too. That we really do kind of have a hockey hotbed, especially like the greater Utica area really is a hockey town, and unfortunately, a lot of people just don't realize it. But the Nexus Center is great for not just the Comets and the Pioneers and the teams that are in the building now, but you have the opportunity to have these, junior leagues and high school leagues, other leagues come around, have some tournaments, not just bringing revenue for the area, but gets younger kids involved in the game. Yeah. And they have a chance to say, hey, my parents' company, whatever, owns tickets to the Comets game. We went to a Comets game. Hey, Mom, Dad, I'd love to give this a try. And here you go. You have even more opportunity to do than you did last year, which is awesome. And that's how we're going to keep growing this game. And I it's something I wish we had when I was a kid. I didn't have the opportunity to play because, one, it was so hard to get into and it was so expensive. Right. Which giving the game more accessibility now is huge. And if we can be a catalyst to that here in upstate New York, that's tremendous.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it would be really nice too is if they get it completed, if they could somehow, some way draw the New York State High School Hockey Tournament back.
Oh, absolutely.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
I miss that so much.
That's got to be on the docket just to have it be played in the odd again.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they rotate it. They rotate it around. Obviously, it's up in the air due to COVID and everything else. But, we got to be back on that slate because, I mean, we had the D3 championships coming in 22, 23.
Right.
So, I mean, it's still this place is still gonna explode with high level hockey, and so, especially during championship season.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt about it. I mean, it's been out in Buffalo for a while too, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Time to bring it back.
Yeah, the Harbor Center kind of drew everything away for but I mean, now that the audit is completely redone, and especially if they're going to have more rinks available right there should be no reason why.
And the hotels are here now.
Exactly. That's the other thing too. Right.
Before the hotels weren't here. Now it's like you got hotels everywhere.
Right. Absolutely.
And you can walk to them. You can walk to the yacht.
Yeah. No doubt about it. I tell you too, something would be kind of nice that it's kind of just a thought that's been rambling around in my head. I mean, you don't want to know. This is just hockey, guys. Don't worry. So,
okay. I was worried.
Yeah, don't worry. Stop hitting the censor button. It's okay.
I wish I had one of those.
Yeah.
I really wait. We actually have a censor button.
Yeah, we do. There
it is.
Yeah.
So does that mean can I try it out?
You have way too much fun with that switchboard. You know that.
Couldn't help myself.
But what would be really nice if we had some kind of like a Mohawk Valley Hockey Hall of Fame. Wouldn't that be cool? I don't know. I mean, just
I agree. No, I would like to see it because it's a good point that you make actually too. Again, when you think about kind of the point we were getting at with how it's good for the younger hockey players around here, the Nexus Center, if they can literally physically see the great hockey players that have come out of this area,
exactly,
it's even more motivation because you have a lot of these kids, they're not exposed to it. And they have no idea what a big deal hockey can really be. I told Barry, one of my, I shouldn't call him a good friend, but a guy I talked to quite a bit. He's a local kid, played in the NHL for a little while, Mark Mowers. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him, but he's one. If you're ever interested in having him on the show, I suggest it. He's tremendous. He's awesome.
Very cool.
But just think about him, the Philip DeSimone, Zalewski's, all these guys that came out of this area. There's people that don't realize how many great hockey players came out of here, and then not even just that, even like we're talking about Gary Heenan. Like look at what we've done here. It should be somewhat validated either on a literal wall, a hallway, something. It would be terrific.
Yeah, the Sestito brothers coming out of Rome.
Sestito brothers, yep, absolutely.
It's just, people just don't realize just exactly how much hockey's coming out of here.
Right. And still today, I had the pleasure of having Greg Burmaster on. He's down playing the ECHL. Yep. There's a lot of really great professional hockey players that have come out of this area, and it's going to continue to grow. And hopefully, if we push it in the right direction, something like a the Scott Kinville Memorial MV Hall of Fame would be terrific.
Hey, listen, I'll be happy if they just put that over one of the urinals in the bathroom. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, there's enough of them. There's enough of them. Come on now.
Of course, my luck, I got to end up on the donut mint or whatever there. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's just great. So, anyways, shifting gears a little bit, the NHL playoffs are, of course, in full swing, and unfortunately, none of our teams are in it. So, which, I tell you, though, sometimes that's not so bad because it's a little less stressful.
Well, I've been watching my buddy Katz with the Isles and Marissa, my other co-host, she's a Boston Bruins fan, and they look horrible. So I'm happy to just watch from afar.
Yeah, I'll tell you that year. I mean, and you guys can attest to it. The year that the Kings and the Rangers met up in the 14 finals, I think that whole playoff series probably took about at least 5 years off my life.
Yeah.
Why?
Gee, I wonder why. I don't know. 3 game sevens. 3 game sevens. 2 of them go to overtime. I don't know. I don't know.
Long run.
And then, but here's a funny story too. And Dad, you remember when we tried to watch anyway, Game 2 together?
Yeah.
So he came down to my house to watch Game 2, and you remember the controversial Dwight King goal?
Yep.
Well, unfortunately, by that point, him and I had each had at least 8 or 9 beers in us. There was a little bit of different point of view about that goal, and we almost got into a fist fight, believe it or not. So
there was going to be blood all over Mohawk. I'm telling you right now.
So that's what I mean when I say it. Sometimes, I guess either that or it's just what I tell myself to make myself feel better that my team's not in it.
Right. Well, you get to live vicariously through Tyler Toffoli now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Since he
true.
Limited, the Leafs have half the old Kings team. I mean, they got Campbell, they got Muzzin, so they're
that's
gone.
just it. Like you said, even though we're living vicariously through other teams, I mean, all the Rangers are on the Lightning. So, I mean,
yeah.
we're good
Yeah,
there.
I know, right?
Yep.
So, any big surprises, Dom, that you've seen so far?
Well, I did kind of just mention it a little bit, but I shouldn't even say it's not much of a surprise, but the way Montreal's playing is unbelievable. The beginning of the season, they were on quite a run. They kind of fell off a little bit. They had the coaching change and all that, but it seems to kind of be turning its head. Price is getting hot at the right times. Toffoli is the player that we've all known he is, but a lot of guys that haven't paid attention to the West Coast had no idea about. And they got a lot of young guys that are stepping up at the right time. Yes, Barry Kotkaniemi looks fantastic. As far as the rest of it,
unbelievable.
Cole Caulfield, yeah, they got these young guys stepping up. They got the right guys on their right vets stepping in. Shea Weber's a mutant, so they got that going for them. The rest of the field right now isn't much of a surprise. I mean, you knew the Avs in Vegas was going to be a dogfight. That those two teams are unbelievable, and then Tampa. I mean, I have so many things I could say about Tampa that I've said it already. So I'm just going to let they're great. They're a great team. They'll just do whatever you want, whatever. Clearly there's no rules when it comes to Tampa.
Yeah, I was thinking that same thing. Yeah,
you guys can go ahead and do whatever you want.
Yep, pretty much.
But I think something that's going to be really interesting is going to be whoever wins this Boston Bruins in the Isles series going up against Tampa. I think that's going to be a really interesting series.
I'll tell you, I watched that game last night, the Boston Islanders game, and I mean. It's just basically it's the Islanders doing what the Islanders do, right?
Yes.
They're just an opportunistic team.
Yeah.
But where is this lockdown defense that they normally have? Gone.
Right.
I mean, Varlamov saved him. I mean, he had 42 saves, I think it was last night, something like that. And it wasn't just, shots from the point. I mean, these were point blank grade A scoring chances. That if it wasn't for Varlamov, that game would have been 8-4.
Right.
Yeah,
they've gotten terrific goaltending, not just out of Varlamov, but when they've had Sorokin in, he's been great too. And the thing, it just makes me laugh just looking at him. Barry Trotz, I don't know, he's like a mad genius.
I know.
It really is. Every system he implements just seems to work, and it's crazy. I told Barry the story. I think I told it to Barry. Maybe it was on our show, but when I had Mark Mowers on, the first team he played for was the Nashville Predators, and the head coach at the time was Barry Trotz.
Right.
And he had Trotzy one practice, pulls him aside, says, "You know what, kid? You really got it. You could be a great scorer in this league." And then about 5 minutes later, a different coach comes up to him and goes, "Hey, I know what Barry just told you to be a scorer, but you are definitely a checker." So every time I see Barry out there running his show, it's wild. That's kind of why I almost want to see the Isles play Tampa, because I think they're going to be the only team that's going to clog up the neutral zone and kind of shut them down before Florida and Carolina has tried to play with Tampa, and you just can't do that.
Right.
You can't beat them at their game. It's just not possible.
No,
so if you shut them down the way that the Islanders might be, and even the Bruins too, there's nothing against the Bruins, but they're just, I don't know. Boston seems to just kind of fall apart for some reason the last couple of years in the postseason. I don't understand it.
You know what it is with Boston? I mean, they're a great team. Don't get me wrong, but I've never seen a team rely on one line as much as they do and get away with it.
I know.
Get away with it. That's the thing. I mean, that's how great those three players are.
I know.
Take the perfection line out. Oh my goodness.
Well, that's just it. You take that line out, and they're just another team. But I mean, you throw that perfection line in, and you know that what that team has to stop.
Right.
But then you also overshadow who else is coming on the ice.
Right.
So I mean, you know that you can still get production out of it. All right, fine. You want to pay attention to three guys? Well, don't forget we still have Tyler Hall. You know, you still got other guys that can still contribute.
Right.
How they're doing it, how they're relying on that one line so much, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's almost as if all the other teams have the same amount of power just on the second, third, and fourth lines of Boston.
Right.
You know, speaking of Taylor Hall, what kind of a contract do you think he's going to get? Is he going to get paid or what?
Oh man, it's funny. You know, it's
I don't know.
Almost like he wanted this. Like you listen to him talk, it's like he wanted to get traded to Boston anyway. That's like kind of what he wanted. I think that this year, especially, like look at everywhere Taylor Hall's been and the contracts he's gotten. He's continually taking these big ticket 1-year deals. If he wants to stay in Boston, they're going to make him sign a couple more years, and he's probably going to have to take less money than he wants. I'm sure, or wherever somebody's going to catch on to him and be like, "Listen, this isn't like we want you, but this you can't keep doing this. You got to take a big boy contract eventually, or he's going to go somewhere and not win. Who knows? Maybe he'll end up back. Maybe he'll end up in Seattle. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, Marchand's making what, $6.8 million?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's when he's going to turn around and say, "Look, pal.
Yeah,
okay,
come on.
You know, here? All right."
I love that you brought Marshy up too, because he's a guy I love to talk about for the simple reason why you look at the line he's on, the perfection line, like how good those guys are. And Marchand, based on the antics he's had over the last 10 years or so, it's overshadowed how great of a player he really is. If you look at his numbers, he really is one of the most dominant players of the last 10 years, but nobody ever thinks of that. Nobody ever thinks of that. And it's a shame because he does things like he did last night. He scored that goal. That was just incredible.
Right.
And it's crazy. I feel like me, obviously I'm the younger one of all you guys, but I appreciate old school hockey to a level that most younger people don't. So I'm able to just kind of appreciate him as the player and like the stuff he does. What can you do? You know what I mean? It's like,
well, that's just it, you know, but I mean, I got to tell you though, even a 35 goal season is awful hard to overshadow licking a guy in the face.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
it's hard.
That's one of those just like, Brett, I mean, come on. This guy, like,
come on,
this guy, we can't, that was, but it's a great moment.
But, you know, I know it's exactly right. And I know, like, as Ranger fans, you guys don't want to hear this name, but to me, him and Tom Wilson are in the same thread.
Right.
You can hate them for their antics all you want, but don't tell me you wouldn't want that guy on your team. Well,
that's just the thing, too. I'm glad you brought that up. Tom Wilson, regardless of what he does, he's still arguably one of the toughest wingers to play against in the league.
Right.
He's not a goon. He's out there scoring goals. He gives his team a chance to win. He just unfortunately tends to lose his cool.
Yeah, well, that's just it.
You see, Jeremy was looking to see if the I Love Tom Wilson ticker was running. He looked down right away. Going, I know Dave's going to do this to me.
Yeah, after the
I would rather have Tom Wilson than Marty on my team, but
you know, I got to tell you, Wilson actually reminds me of a bigger version of Claude Lemieux.
Oh yeah, good comparison.
He really does. You know, talented to no end, but
makes your blood boil.
Yeah, and will just do anything possible to get under your skin.
Yeah.
You know, I tell you, it's crazy. But even going back to just that Tampa Bay Florida series, real quick. How great would that have been for hockey if Florida could have actually won that series? Because it would have made finally a rivalry between those two teams. I mean, they've been in the league for over 25 years now, I think.
Yeah.
but it's hard to have a big rivalry when that's the first time you faced each other in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because I mean, when Florida was good, Tampa Bay wasn't. When Tampa Bay was good, Florida wasn't. You know, so it makes it tough.
And it's great that you brought that up too, because that was one of the first games, the first series rather, where like we had a full building almost, and like, or at least more than half. And for just under 10,000 in that building, that place was going ballistic in Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, they have a ton of talented players that people just don't talk about because they're Florida. You hear Florida, you think 6 fans, no, nothing. But I mean, I thought it was going to be a little better. I was hoping it was, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, but I think Spencer Knight's the real deal.
Oh yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
Know, I think signing Bobrovsky to that huge contract is going to hurt them for years to come.
It's tough to give a goalie that much money unless it's Carey Price in Montreal. Then that's
right. Well, I'll tell you what though, if Toronto scores in the overtime goal in Game 5, they wouldn't be saying that.
I know. That team makes me so angry. They really do. Toronto. Yeah, I just don't. It doesn't make any sense. I was talking to a couple of my buddies who are Sabres fans, and naturally they hate Toronto, but. I don't know. It's just they have so much talent. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's so confusing. And it's not only like they obviously have the offensive talent, but they made some improvements in like the gritty aspect of the game. They made some defensive improvements. And there was no reason why that team should have got pushed around the way it did. And Montreal just didn't back down. All the credit to them. Yeah. The way Bergevin has built that team, all the credit in the world to them. They're legit. Look at them. They just swept Winnipeg after all.
Well, they're another one of those teams that was built for the playoffs.
Yep.
You know, I mean, and I know probably the entire hockey world wanted to see Edmonton and Toronto battling it out for that North Division crown, you know, but it's hard. I mean, look at Edmonton's end. I mean, Mike Smith was valiant in goal, but really it's their own fault. They didn't do anything to help improve their goaltending in the offseason.
Right.
That's what got them bounced against Chicago last year.
Right. Yeah, it's tough because I'm a huge McDavid fan because he's, you know, like we talked about earlier with you growing up right around the Gretzky time. I'm, you know, McDavid. I got his jersey hanging up in my closet, and I don't know. It's such a shame because him and Drysdale are just so unbelievably talented. They make Ryan Nugent-Hopkins look like Mario Lemieux. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. It really, you know what I mean? He's like their version of like Malkin or something. It doesn't make any sense. And then they have a ton of other talent on that team, but they just can't seem to figure it out defensively and in goal, which doesn't even make any sense because their special teams are some of the best in the league every year.
I know, right? It's just, I don't know. I don't understand it. I think
McDavid's got to score 100 goals. That's the only thing. It's the only way to do it.
But then the problem is they'll give up 102.
Right.
So the other series I wanted to touch on real quick was the Vegas Colorado series. I'm kind of wondering what happened to that Colorado team that was in Game 1.
Right.
Wow.
It was the altitude.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know, man. I mean, I thought after watching that Game 1, I'm like, this could be a sweep.
Yeah,
this could be a sweep. And then, you know, Game 2, they didn't play all that great, and Vegas played outstanding, but Colorado managed to, you know, and say what you want about the penalty in overtime. I'm not going to, you know, sit here and scream about officials and all that. But
you had goalie change. You had a huge goalie change.
Right. They got the win, and then they went into Vegas and totally fell apart.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a tough place to play.
It is, but it's kind of funny if, you know, because I mean, I'll confess, I go on Twitter way too much looking for hockey information. So I see a lot of stupid things on Twitter.
Oh, it's a negative, vapid wasteland. It's the worst.
God, you know, you can't make some of this stuff up on there. No. You really can't, right?
No.
So, I mean, you know, before the series started, everybody was, McKinnon, he's the greatest player ever. He's the best player in the NHL. Same people a week later, now that the series is tied, he's terrible. He should take a pay cut for his next contract because he's not carrying his team. And it's like, oh my God, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But I mean, I tell you, I think whoever wins Game 5 is going to take the series. I just think it's that close.
I think you're right. And you know what? I almost. It sounds crazy, and like as much as I'd love to see the Habs make a run, but I almost feel like either damned either way. I don't know who they're gonna.
Yeah.
Both of those teams are just. Vegas is so tough and gritty, and their goaltending. Right, you got Marc-Andre Fleury playing some of the best hockey of his life.
Right.
At the tail end of his career, maybe, who knows? He could play another 10 years the way he's playing right now.
Yeah. Right.
And then even if he's not the guy, you still got Robin Leonard to deal with, and then they have so much offensive talent, and this team has been together for so many, a couple years now. So they know what it's going to take to get them to the next level. They've been so close for so long. But then on the same token, like you brought up Nathan McKinnon, I mean, that player doesn't get nearly as much credit as he should. He's an incredible player, and they're so deep in every aspect of the game on that team. It's just it's brutal. I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. I don't know who's going to win it, but it's crazy.
And that's with no Kadri.
I know.
I know.
It's
scary.
7 games. I mean,
and you know what the worst part is? They got a ton of cap space going into the off season.
I know.
They could quote unquote improve.
Well, that's the thing is they've built that team from within so well.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're really built to make a run. Whereas a lot of these other teams, you kind of see maybe that's part of what Edmonton's problem was. They fall apart because they're not built well from within. A couple other teams, probably the Leafs, kind of have that same problem. They don't build from within. Half of their team is from the All-Stars 10 years ago, and then the rest of them is a couple young guys that they've overpaid.
Yeah, it's kind of like having a Lamborghini with a 4-cylinder in it.
Right. That's awesome.
So Dom, I'm going to put you on the spot. So I still got Colorado taking it. I said that right from the beginning.
Sure.
Who you got?
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say Vegas.
Vegas?
I'm going to take Vegas. I think Fleury's going for one final hurrah. I'm kind of biased here because Ryan Reeves is one of my favorite players.
Oh God.
Yeah, I love Revo. Big fan. And a little local bias, Alex Tuck from Fulton, New York. Let's go ahead and give him a little credit here. Guy's playing really fantastic. I think Vegas takes it. I do. I think Vegas makes a run.
Well, it's probably going to be the winner of that Colorado-Vegas series.
Yeah.
But I'll fill you in on a little secret. As a Kings fan, I'm not a big Vegas fan at all. But I do like Alex Tuck being from the area.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can understand that. Well, you guys are pump the Kings tires a little bit. You guys, I feel like, have more first-round draft picks than like half the league coming up the next couple of years. You guys are loaded to go.
Well, yeah, but they were terrible. That's why believe me, we took the bullets for those.
Yeah, fair enough.
Watching that IIHF World Championship tournament, I don't know if you got to see any of that, but you know what? Between what the Kings prospects showed and what the Rangers showed, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say it right now. Within about 3 or 4 years, that Rangers-Kings rivalry is going to be huge.
Yeah.
I really think so because they're both loaded for bear in the system. Yep.
Well, we'll see how it works out too. Especially, you never know what people's prospects and picks might look like if one of these two teams tries to pull the trigger on a Jack Eichel trade.
Well, I think it's going to be you guys.
His neck makes me nervous. I don't want to sell the farm just for a guy who's banged up and is going to be washed up in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, that's the tough part.
It's crazy.
From what I understand, I guess the Kings are backing out because I guess Buffalo's demanding Quentin Byfield be part of the deal, and they're like,
well,
no.
Here's the thing. No disrespect. I got a lot of buddies out in Buffalo from Trainwreck Sports. They're an outlet that does podcasting and all that stuff out there. And I was telling them, I was like, guys, and not to bring this up or anything, but there's no guarantee that Buffalo won't screw this up again like they did Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very true.
You know what I mean? Here's you guys might let your best player walk away for a bag of pucks and a tin of chew real quick. You don't know.
Well, it's been said before too, but it is true that the longer this goes on, and if he continues to be unhappy, Buffalo's not going to have any choice but to unload him.
Yeah, and I like that you brought up the Byfield thing because I've had Sabres fans on Twitter, of all places, like, we're not letting them go for anybody, at least Adam Fox. Adam Fox, what are you, nuts? He's got the chance to win us at Norris in the next couple of years. What are you, crazy?
Yeah. Well, I was reading that it starts with Lafreniere or Capocacco.
Come on.
And then they want 2 first-round picks, and then they want an NHL roster. It's like, are you nuts?
Yeah, what are you, crazy?
Yeah.
No, because here's the thing, too. What do they he's got a $10 million cap hit.
Yeah.
It's not like he can just go anywhere.
No.
There's only a handful of teams that can take on that cap hit for starters, and B, actually have enough prospects or picks to make them happy.
Yeah, and you know what? I have a lot of Sabres fans too who are like, they don't want to see him but at this point, for the sake of you guys rebuilding, it's for the best for the Sabres. It really is. If you can get a haul of picks and good prospects, it's not worth trying to clutter this guy and make him carry the organization. It's not. You guys have so many more problems than dealing with injuries or just a lack of talent. Like, they have so many front office problems. They're not in a position right now. It just doesn't work.
You know what I thought they should have done? When JD got fired from the Rangers, I thought Buffalo should have snapped him up in an instant.
Yeah.
If the Pagulas were, that's what the Pagulas should have done. Hired him, said, hey, you know what? We're going to back off. We're just going to let you run the ship. You take it. We'll sign the check.
Right. And that's clearly
a lot of problems.
That's clearly part of the problem, right? Is they're doing great with the Bills because they're a little more hands off, but when it comes to the Sabres, they're a little too involved.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Every owner seems to think that they can somehow, just because they've got hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, that they can get involved.
Right.
Hundreds of millions and billions.
And all we got is big mouths, and we try to get involved. So
I know. It's easy to armchair GM from over here.
Yeah, right. So, quick question for you. I mean, I thought those reverse retro jerseys were pretty cool for the most part. Who had the best one?
Oh, man. All right. So I have a couple that I really liked for different reasons. This isn't my favorite, but one that I really liked was the Kings, just because I love that they went a different direction with it. And it kind of tied it into the city, brought that Lakers color scheme in. I thought that was really cool. I also really liked Vancouver's because I thought that retrograde color scheme was really cool. Yep. But myself personally, growing up a hockey fan in New York State, I really loved the Sabres.
Yeah.
But I wish they went with the original colors. I wish they went with the red and the black. The butter knives with the it's just, to me, it looks so good. I love that so much. The royal color's nice, but I wish they went with the red and the black. Either way, to me, it's a biased thing because even though I'm a Rangers fan, I've always had a soft spot for the Sabres. That's why it breaks my heart when they're as bad as they are. But I really like those ones a lot. A lot of them were nice. A lot of them were terrible. Ours weren't great. The Rangers weren't great.
No, not at all.
Well, you know what the problem with the Rangers is? They have such great, home and away jerseys anyways.
Right.
So it's hard to do anything. You know which one I loved? I love the Minnesota one.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I missed the North Stars. I can't help it.
Right. Well, I'm glad you brought that up too, because one of them that I thought had a lot of opportunity was with the way Dallas went with their Stars ones. If they made them more similar to the original North Stars jersey, instead of they looked like stormtroopers skating around out there. You got a white top, a white helmet, a white pants on white ice, white gloves. It was everything. It was just too much because again, being a young hockey fan when I was in the late '90s. And then into the early 2000s, one of the guys that I loved watching, as an American guy, was Mike Modano. So those jerseys were just like, that screams that to me. And they had such a big chance. A lot of teams dropped the ball. Like, look at the Islanders just changed the hue of their color a little bit. That's all they did.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Detroit put together a practice jersey.
Yeah, Detroit had the practice jersey going, it was crazy. But I mean, it's one of those things. It's silly. And it's like you said, too, like the Rangers I love their jerseys so much as it is. So it's like, it's hard to screw with it. I like the Lady Liberty. I wish they did a little more with it, but it is what it is. Who knows? They're going to have some type of weird third jersey next year for everybody too. They're going to just keep doing this.
Yeah, they're going to try to milk this for all it's worth. Except this time, I actually hope they produce enough to sell because they ran out of the original run of everything. Yeah. Then they go, oh, sorry, we know there's a demand, but you're not getting them.
Right.
Oh, fondness was absence makes the heart grow fonder. Thanks.
Right.
Yeah, that's not a very good
crazy. They're charging like $250 a pop for them all too. Like, what is this all about?
Yeah, I know, but people are still buying them.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy.
So we're gonna wrap this segment up with a little bit of expansion draft talk. So that's coming up there where everybody's gonna lose somebody except for Vegas, of course. Vegas is exempted.
Of course.
Imagine that, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do you think that Seattle's going to have an easy time taking advantage of this like Vegas did?
I don't think it's going to be as easy as it was for Vegas. I think a lot of teams, especially because it was so fresh, I think they learned a lot from the Vegas draft. I think it's going to be I think guys are going to move that you're not going to expect to move, that we wouldn't expect, but the teams are going to do it for their own best interest. Like they're going to allow them to, whether it's for a contract reason or somebody else they're planning on bringing in. I think it's going to be interesting. I don't think they're going to get as lucky as they did with Vegas, but it's going to be interesting to see. Anytime something like this happens is interesting. And I know I have a lot of friends who don't like the idea of us having another team. They didn't like Vegas coming in. It's like, yeah, I get that. I understand. But at the end of the day, it's great for the growth of the game. We're getting a team in a part of the country where there is no team. You know what I mean? Up in the Northeast, it's an hour-ish away from Vancouver. You have a natural rivalry right there. And it's just, we need the game to grow. Is Seattle the best spot for it? I don't know. I mean, it's could be worse. I guess there's cities that I could see that would be way worse. But I think it's cool that Vegas right now, or not Vegas, rather, Seattle only has one sports team or two sports teams rather. So bring in the hockey team. It looks great. They're supposed to get a basketball team now again. So that's great. It's great for Seattle. You know, it grows everything around there. It's tremendous.
Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, plus you have to have an even amount of teams in the league. You can't have odd.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't
I
work.
hated that.
You know, I mean, hopefully they'll be able to balance
Silly.
the schedule back out.
Right.
So we'll see. I mean, the only thing that might help them is that flat cap.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're going to see teams going crazy unloading other players just so don't pick this guy. But here, have two other great players, and we'll just turn our heads. Don't worry, you know.
Right. It's going to be interesting to see. It's definitely.
I could never understand that whole Vegas. They were a bunch of misfits. It's like, well, no, not really.
No.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, they're a bunch of fourth line grinders. It's like, wait, what?
Marchessault, he had 30 goals the year before. What are you?
Yeah, what are you guys talking about? This is crazy. Oh man. Well, we'll see. I don't think it's going to end up that way. I hope not. At least that would just be brutal. I don't even know who we're going to go, but we'll see.
Right. Well, that's just it. So, Jeremy and Dom, as Ranger fans, who you guys think you're going to lose?
I don't want to say it, but I mean, our tenured guy is Kreider.
Yeah.
I just seeing the turn where the Rangers are trying to go so young. Yeah. I mean, having Kreider be the oldest one there.
Does he have a no move?
No.
Oh, he didn't get one in that new contract.
No.
Oh
no. I like that you brought him up too for that exact reason, right? So whether it was the reasoning or not, the reason why Dolan had everybody just completely fired, just got rid of everybody, was he said he wanted to win. And he's not happy with the rebuild, right? Kreider's been here for how long? He's like you said, the 10-year guy, and it's like, you know what? Unfortunately, it's not working, so we're going to go in a different direction. So that actually makes a lot of sense.
I'm worried about.
You imagine Chris Kreider? Oh man,
I don't want to. I mean, he's right. I mean, obviously he's my favorite player. Obviously he's been the longest one there. But even when he first came in, as coming right out of Boston and jumping right into the playoffs, I was like, this kid's going to be a stud. Like, he's my new favorite player, and I don't want him to go. And it's going to be extremely weird seeing him if he does go in a different jersey. But it would make sense for you're going to chop everybody off and. Why you're going to leave? I mean, sure, he's a great leader. He's a great locker room. He's not that rah-rah guy, but he's that guy that gets everybody going. He is the first and last one off the ice, but he's still that guy that could be on that block.
Yeah. I like that you brought that up just now too, where he's a great leader. Where you look at some of the way some of these younger kids were, we have the opportunity for some of these young guys. They seem like they want to step up and be in that position anyway. Right. So we can really, like, whether it's Adam Fox, something that really stood out to me too. I'm weird about this kind of stuff, but maybe you watching the Rangers would have noticed this too, was the way every time there was a scrum in front of the net, you had Lafreniere was there. If he was on the ice, he was there. Yeah. And that for a literal, he's a literal child.
Yeah, he's 19
to come in and get in the mix. Yeah, legitimately get in the mix. Barely played any game. That says a lot. So this young group the Rangers have it would really be tough to see him go, but it might be what's best for the team. If it's best for the team and it works out, all the power to everybody.
Well, two things about that, though. At least number one, he'd be going to the Western Conference.
Right.
And two, it would actually free up some cap space to help sign Zibanejad because he's up at the end of this coming season.
Yep.
And I got to tell you guys, if he puts together another 30, 40 goal season, he's going to want to get paid.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to want probably close to Panarin money.
Oh, man. No, you're right, though. That's because Kreider, I believe, is 7-ish a year. So that would be great. You can give a little swap right there. Hey, Mika, DJ Zbad in his free time, spinning the tunes.
With his new contract, he's throwing $100 bills all over the place.
Yeah, it's great. That's one of the few moves too that, like, I'm glad you brought him up. Because I'm not just a Rangers fan, I'm also a New York Mets fan. So I'm very used to my teams not making moves that make sense. But we definitely won that Zibanejad Ottawa trade very easily. So I'm glad it worked out.
I think Ottawa management was drunk when they made that trade, to be honest with you.
Horrible. Just terrible.
So Dom, you're going to stick around for the rest of the show, I hope, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick commercial break. And before we go, we're going to end the segment like we always do with breakaway trivia. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the question and we're going to answer when we come back from the break. So here is the question. Who holds the NHL record for most game-winning goals in one playoff season? The answer when we come back.
Visit My Little Falls and stay connected with the latest news, information, and events in the city. Our mission is to generate interest in the community and connect residents in a more meaningful way by facilitating deeper conversations about how these stories will shape the future of Little Falls, New York. Join thousands of weekly visitors who stay up to date with feature stories, interviews, videos, and our events calendar. It's about timely local news for the community, keeping citizens informed about important issues, telling stories about the people who live and work here, and giving locally owned businesses the opportunity to reach a very targeted audience of local residents and tourists alike. It's a whole new form of media-rich content developed specifically for today's mobile lifestyle and listeners. You can download our iOS app in the iTunes store or sign up for our weekly newsletter. Stop by today at mylittlefalls.com. You'll be glad you did.
And we're back with segment 2 of Marty's Illegal Stick. Hope I sound a little bit better. We had to fix my mic. It was dropping down a little bit. So technical difficulties abound, but that's okay. Speaking of technical difficulties.
It was operator error. Don't be going technical.
It was technical difficulties, Dave. Speaking of technical, there he is. He's back.
He's back.
I saw the circle screen. I go, oh, we're batting 1,000 here. So anyways, we're going to start the segment off by answering breakaway trivia. I'll give you guys the question one more time, just in case you forgot where we were going. Who holds the NHL record for most game-winning goals in one playoff season? Gump, I'm going to start with you.
As always, and you've been breaking my tamales all the whole season. I'm going to go ahead and get your laugh out of the way with Mario Lemieux.
Not a bad guess.
No, that's not a bad guess.
It's a 4 time in a row. Not a bad guess.
Did he want us to get he wanted us to get the laughter out of the way now?
Well, I mean, yeah, okay. Jeremy, who you got?
All time, huh?
All time. Most game-winning goals in one playoff season.
And your father took my guess too.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that made me feel good. Thanks, Jeremy.
You guys have each other's phone number?
Messier?
Okay. Dom?
So I think I know this one. And I'm pretty sure the only reason I know is because he played for the Rangers. You're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong. But I want to say it's Brad Richards, but I'm not sure. It's either him.
Oh my God, it is.
Or Joe Sakic. It's one of those two.
It's Richards.
Is it?
Pick one.
Brad Richards.
Ding, 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 ding. You got it.
Yeah, it's Richards.
You got it. He got it with the Lightning won the Cup in 2004. He had 7 game-winning goals in that playoff season.
It was either, I couldn't remember because he might have, did he pass Sakic? I think it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I love one of my people who most people hate, but one of my favorite players of all time, Sean Avery, story about chirping Joe Sakic. If any of you guys have ever heard that story, it's the best. When he's chirping Joe and one of the guys grabs him and he goes, "Hey, that's Mr. Sakic. You don't get to talk to Mr. Sakic."
He talked about that on his podcast.
Yes. It's again, I brought him up earlier, but when I had Mark Mowers on, after he got done playing for the Bruins, he worked for Nesson for a little while, and he's got this great segment calling Sean Avery on TV a rat and all this stuff. It's awesome. It's tremendous.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, congratulations. He's 1 for 1 for breakaway trivia. That's great.
Thank you. That's probably awesome. It's beginner's luck. It's the last one I'll ever get.
That's all right. Have faith. Anyway, so happy birthday to former Clinton Comet and New York Ranger and Hockey Hall of Fame goaltender Eddie Giacomin. He turned 82 years old on June 6th. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Good?
I have his autograph actually somewhere. Well, my dad does.
Really?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
My dad does, yeah.
That is really cool.
Floating around.
And speaking of June 6th birthdays, happy birthday to Cam Neely, the Hall of Fame right wing. Yeah. Turned 56 on June 6th, too.
Seabass, awesome.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a trade that got away from a team? How about that team? Imagine if you stayed in Vancouver.
Right. Hey, listen, they lit the world on fire with Barry Peterson.
Oof.
That's who they got for him.
I mean, I was just listening to like trades that went wrong or that could have gone the other way. Like think if Panarin was on the Islanders.
Oh.
Yeah.
Think if he was still in Chicago.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
God,
Chicago. Yeah.
Woo, man, Patty Kane would have a significantly larger number of career points.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you. Those two made Artem Anisimov look like Mario Lemieux.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Panarin, he's one of those guys. I remember the first time I ever saw him wasn't even in a game. It was someone shared either on Instagram or Facebook just a video of him when he was still in Russia just handling the puck. And I was like, I remember I sent it to my dad and I was like, I don't know who this kid is. I don't even know if he's any good, but he's got the best hands I've ever seen. Just the best hands I've ever seen.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Just crazy.
Unreal. And, you know, I mean, he was here by the time he was 25, he had 7 pro seasons in the KHL already?
Yes.
Something like that. It's ridiculous.
I know. Him and Ovechkin played together over there. Can you imagine that team?
Right. Denton lad, you know?
Yeah. Jesus. Absolutely crazy.
Oh, man. So, you know, we were talking about the Sabres earlier, and Dave, I know how much you like the Sabres.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you don't have any sound effects for that?
No. We're going to be the silence.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for
sound effect.
Yeah. I could do the womp.
Well, so anyways, they won the draft lottery, though.
Oh, well, I know. First place.
Gives them the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
The Seattle Kraken will pick number 2, and the Anaheim Ducks will pick 3rd. So what do you guys think? Do the Sabres take Owen Power, somebody else, or do they possibly trade down and load up with more picks?
Oof. That's a tough one.
Yeah,
they're in a position where you kind of almost want to wish you could do both. It's tough. I was sitting watching that and I thought like how ballistic the online hockey community would have been if somehow Seattle had it. They would have been like, this is rigged. This is so rigged.
Well, I'm sure you heard that enough when the Rangers won it.
Yeah. You know what's crazy too? And it's something that made me laugh when that happened is the same people who were saying it was rigged, blah, blah, blah. 6 games into the season, we're saying Lafreniere was a bust. I was like, guys, he's a child. He can't even drink here. Can you just let it go? He's got a ton of potential. Let him be. And even myself, like I was sitting, I go, the Q was a little undersized last year. Maybe that's why he dominated.
You're right, the man child up there, right?
Yeah. It's like, I don't know.
You know, and that's the thing too about number 1 overall picks and even like top 3 picks. You know, everybody assumes that just because a player is taken number 1 overall, it's Connor McDavid. Going to walk right in the league, score 60, 70, 80 points, and that's it. That is more of an anomaly than anything else.
Well, look at the last time the Sabres picked number 1. What was it, Dahlin?
Dahlin, yeah. And he actually started off pretty good, but when the team tailspin, he kind of went down with them. But he actually played better under Donnie Granato when he became coach.
I'm glad you brought Dahlin up because that really does put Buffalo to take Owen Power as another defenseman.
Right.
Well, you can never have too many good defensemen. Ask the Rangers.
No.
Right.
They get rid of them. We get rid of them. We send them to Tampa Bay.
No. You send them to L.A.
Yeah,
that's who we want. We don't want
that's
Michael.
What's next.
We want Dahlin.
That's our next one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's next. We're going to stop loading up Tampa. Rangers South is going to be no more. We're going to have Rangers West over there in LA now.
They just want them out of the time zone. Just get them out of the time zone.
Just get rid of them. That Sabres team is crazy. Talking about Dahlin now, because even almost like their best player right now, besides Eichel's, like Risto. You know what I mean? Like Ristolainen is like their best player. They've been trying to get rid of this guy for years now, and he just won't leave.
I know, right? Well, he's open to it now, though. I think this season finally put him over the edge. That was it.
Brutal.
But you know, this year's draft is so nuts because there is no real clear number 1, no clear number 2, no clear number 3. So if they were ever going to do that and just maybe try to load up on some draft picks to, accelerate a rebuild, this would probably be the time to do it.
Yeah.
But
for sure. That's a great point. I would say it's a really good point, actually.
Well, I'm not Kevin Adams or one of the Steelers, so.
Well,
I'm just Scott Kinville sitting here running my mouth behind some mic. That's all.
They should be listening.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they are.
Well, here's the thing: is you never know. They might hire you. They have a run of hiring people for positions they've never done.
Yeah, right. There you go. I mean, perfect.
So then they'd be hiring Gump.
Yeah. Me and Gump will go out there.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I can see that now.
So who you guys want? We're open for ideas and bribes.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy. They look at the beginning of last year, whenever it was, they fired literally everybody. They fired people down to Rochester.
Yeah.
Crazy, which is a shame because Taylor was a great coach too. For the position they were in, having to need Granato to fill in, if you could have just moved Taylor up, that would have been awesome for them. But
absolutely,
again, it's easy for us to sit here and I'm sitting in a basement doing a podcast. What do I know?
Yeah, so
we're in a garage.
Yeah, it's all right.
I do love the TV setup behind. It looks great. You guys look so official. Yeah, you guys look like it's like Joe Rogan over there. It's terrific.
Yeah, we're putting him on notice.
Now we just need 1% of his listeners. That's all
1% of work.
I know.
Yeah, jeez,
it's crazy. Hey, well, I've always thought though, and I tell everybody, if I even get 5 people listening to the show, it's awesome because they tuned in. They had to go out of their way to listen to you, and that's really cool. It's not like the radio. And for me, one of the things that I've loved a lot, there's a lot of kids that are Comets fans that have reached out to me or Pioneers fans, and they're like, I tune into you all the time. And even if it's just a few kids here and there, it's awesome. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what the best part is? Like, because we have the Facebook page, and I love it when people comment, send messages in. And you know what? It's funny. Just doing this show, I've actually made more friends. Yeah. From people I have no idea who they are, but just gets talking and between people being on the show and stuff like that, it's really fantastic. So
Facebook friends are not the same as real friends, Scott.
Well, when it comes to hockey, it is.
Well, okay, all right.
Well, sure, absolutely. I have one kid that follows our show, for example. Me and him talk almost every day. He's a kid. He actually lives in Ontario, but he's a huge Comets fan, and he's on more than one occasion said that he's more than willing to drive down to Utica to go to a game at the Odd instead of buck up and pay for a game at for the Leafs.
Wow. That's awesome.
Wow.
He's been to like 4 or 5 Comets games. Yeah,
that is great.
That's quite a compliment.
I know, it's awesome.
Need to get that kid a complimentary ticket or something.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
I know. He was all bummed that he was going to leave.
Yeah. Who drove the furthest kind of thing?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe the Iceman Jimmy McNeil can get his Zamboni filled with the hot tub and all that and bring him down. He's up there in Ontario too. Don't worry about it.
Drive that thing to Utica.
Don't worry about it. I'll just tell Jimmy to stay home. He can have her seat.
That's awesome.
So, guys, speaking of the Comets, the AHL has announced plans for next season and will play a full slate of games. Our hometown Utica Comets will play 72 games, and they will also be playing in the North Division again. That warmed my heart when I saw that. I'm like, finally, something back to normal,
Right.
Absolutely.
To see that, I mean, that's just great. But, there's only one complaint that I have about the AHL, and it's a minor complaint. I just wish that, like, the East teams could play the West teams.
Yeah.
I know I totally understand the logistics involved and that it's very expensive to travel. The AHL has nowhere near a travel budget as like the NHL does and all that. But if they could just figure out, even if it's like one Eastern team plays out West 1 year for a trip, and then the following year a Western team comes, it's just something, it doesn't have to be full blown. But I mean, that would, because, when they had the All-Star Classic in Utica, that was so cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Seeing those players from, from the Western Conference and all that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. That's just kind of what I wish. I mean, it's like I said, minor complaint. Believe me, it's not I'm going to stop watching AHL or anything like that.
Right.
I'm not giving up my AHL TV subscription. That's for sure.
No.
But no, that's great. That's all. But other than that, I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Starting October 15th, right?
Yeah, I believe that's the start date.
So I think we'll have to meet in the parking lot at the Odd, whether we get in or not. We'll have to sit in there. We'll sit at the parking lot, drink some beers, do some cooking.
You're going to see so many old school players, not even players, but just old school fans just come out for that. I mean, it's going to be ridiculous of what it's going to look like down there on game day. And
it would be really cool for like opening night if they had some of the old Utica Devils come out.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
You figured, Esh still talks to Kevin Todd. So,
right.
That's got to be done. I mean, that would be, they've reached out to the original Comets. Why not reach out to the Devils that were around and that are still around here that, could go out there and show. Even though Sestito didn't play for Utica, he played for New Jersey.
Right.
So why not just have him go in? And, that'd be great.
I would love to see him get like a Chris Shahaki, Murray Brumwell, see if he's still got the huge mustache, right? And it'd be so awesome if they could get some of those the old Devils back. But that's a thought. Maybe, if Robert Ash listens to this show, maybe he can take a suggestion. or not. Either way, I'm good. That's
great.
just
Well,
tag
I know that Rob is because they put out that they had they got the copyright now or the trademark, whatever, for the Utica Devils. So they plan on doing some throwback nights. Maybe we'll be able to squeeze some of that in. That'd be great.
That would be cool. That'd be really cool.
Maybe Rob knows a guy. He can make a phone call and get Martin Brodeur down here. That'd be sweet.
Hey, there you go. That'd be cool too.
Like I said, what was it last week? Isn't Berdeur's son playing for the Binghamton Devils now?
I thought he was in the St. Louis system. But I could be wrong. I know he's in somebody's system.
That means Brodeur would have been here. The St. Louis system was just here.
Yeah.
Oh,
True.
yeah.
True.
That's right.
I don't know. We'll have to look at Jeremy, you got a homework assignment.
All right.
You got to find out where Marty Brodeur's son is.
Wait, I'm the professor. I should be handing out the homework assignments.
Well, yeah, but you got to know the answer.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. That's great. That's awesome.
One last news item to go over. The Canadian government has announced it will allow cross-border travel for the Stanley Cup semifinals and final if necessary. Teams will not have to quarantine, but there will be several restrictions in place. I'm glad that they figured that one out because I was starting to get a little bit nervous.
Yep.
Yeah.
They really took that one down to the wire.
Yeah, it's like, guys, we're getting close here, you know?
It's like, listen, I don't want to say hurry up, but hurry up.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
So, yeah, I guess they're not going to have to quarantine, but they can't go out and like visit the general public, and there's all kinds of. But no,
It'll be like a bubble all over again. But at least they get the cross.
Yeah, I mean, I thought for sure one of those teams was going to have to just come down and play their home games in the States.
I know.
Yeah,
that's what I was waiting for.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like for a while
because I've talked to a few parents that the UC players that had their parents live up in Canada, and I've actually talked to one last night, and I was like, "How you doing?" He goes, "Still on lockdown, starting to loosen up, but it's still on lockdown." And I'm like, "What?" I go, "How can you guys?" And then you see Montreal once they swept Winnipeg last night. I'm like, how are you guys on lockdown?
Right.
I don't understand it.
They're partying in the street. They're going nuts.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, so that means there's a riot and everybody's going to be arrested. So now nobody can travel anywhere.
Last time they did that, they tried to burn the city down anyway.
Well, yeah, rocket restart ain't around anymore. We don't have to worry about it. Just imagine the irony, though, if the Montreal Canadiens had to play their home semifinal games in Buffalo. Imagine that.
Man, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
The home team getting booed.
I know.
I was going to say with fans, I think they may go back to having no fans come in the arena.
Yeah, the Montreal
it's bad enough that the Toronto Blue Jays, aren't they playing in Buffalo?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. That's baseball. Don't worry about it. It's the Blue Jays. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, I just really made most of Canada mad with that comment, but that's okay.
Yeah, they have a fan or two somewhere.
I'm a Yankees fan, so that's and we just lost half our visitors. Okay, well, anyway, I'm going to shut up right now, right?
Yeah.
So speaking of shutting up, we're going to end this segment like we always do with Website of the Week. Website of the Week is brought to you by 315hockey.com. 315hockey.com is your news hub for all levels of hockey in Central New York. This week's Website of the Week is ReileTalkSports.com. Throwing you a plug, brother.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Check that out. It's a cool little website. I like how you got a little bit of everything in there.
Yeah. I'm not much of a writer myself, but if anybody on the group wants to write something, they just throw it up. It's good to have a website. If you have a podcast, you should have a website. So it's good to have that up there. Throw it up there. I'm more of an Instagram guy myself. I don't like Twitter. It makes me nervous. But we'll do the website that works.
See, I tell you, it's funny you say that because I can't do Instagram very well. I actually built a website for this show.
Yeah.
And you can tell it's total amateur hour because I did it. But
he's trying to get professional help.
I keep trying to get somebody to rebuild it, but
I'll do it.
Yeah, when he gets back from Boston, when he's got his fingers covered with barbecue sauce.
Oh yeah. Oh baby, that Mexican food. I'm telling you, I get off the plane, I know right where I'm going.
I'm glad I'm not on that trip with you. That's all I got to say.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm jealous, man. You got my mouth watering over here now.
Yeah, all right.
It's good stuff.
I love Tex-Mex.
Well, he's bringing some back for us. Don't worry.
Good.
Yeah. So I can see the TSA dealing with that.
Yeah. Well, if you have enough of it, they'll let you right through. Don't worry.
True.
Anyways, we're going to close this segment out. We're going to go to our last commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to take a ride on that Zamboni Time Machine. We'll be right back.
Need to find that gift for someone special?
Visit Little Falls Presents at the Stone Mill and Canal Place. Stop by today to find unique artist work, t-shirts, coffee cups, gift towels, greeting cards, tote bags, koozies, and original oil paintings and prints. It's all about the art of the gift. For more information, visit mylittlefalls.com/shop or call 315-508-5310 for details.
And we're back with our last segment of Marty's Illegal Stick. So we're going to go on that Zamboni Time Machine. The Zamboni Time Machine is brought to you by Zamboni.com, and the Zamboni name is used with permission from the Zamboni Company. This week, the Zamboni Time Machine takes us back to 1973, the year the Boston Bruins drafted Jim Seaweed Petty. Hockey players are known to have tempers from time to time, and goaltenders are no exception. Billy Smith was known to slash anyone who got too close to his crease, and if you made Rod Hextall mad, he did not need an enforcer because he could take care of it himself. Even Patrick Waugh fought Red Wings goaltender Mike Vernon in 1997, and then Red Wings goaltender Chris Osgood in 1998. Jim Seaweed Petty was a goalie who fit this mold, even if he didn't have a long career. Petty got his nickname Seaweed because of his hair being very long and stringy, just not green. Seaweed was known to be quite feisty. He played 51 games with the Dayton Gems of the IHL in 1975, and he managed to pile up 145 penalties in minutes. This would be a lot for a forward or a defenseman, but as a goalie, it's ridiculous. Well, Seaweed had a penchant for being in the right place at the right time, though, as well. Seaweed made his NHL debut for the Bruins during the 1967-77 season and playing just one game. That one game, however, happened to be the first game Bobby Orr played against the Bruins as a Chicago Blackhawk. And wouldn't you know it, Seaweed managed to pick up the win. The highlight of his NHL career came in 1978-79 when he appeared in 19 games for the Bruins. He also managed to put up 17 penalties in minutes, which I guess isn't too difficult when you spark a bench-clearing brawl like the one he did against the New York Islanders. You can look that one up on YouTube. It's pretty good. Seaweed was known to be quite the wild man, but one of his more infamous stories came as a result of something he did not do. While playing for the Rochester Americans, he was roomed with teammate Daryl Edestrand in a hotel room while playing on the road. For whatever reason, the local police suspected there was a huge party going on in their room. Edelston described what happened next in Ross Hewitt-Brewitt's book, Into the Empty Net. Jeez, I gotta learn how to talk to you.
Yeah.
I didn't bring a water with me. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Excuses. Anyway, so out of the book, it says, about 6 cops came barreling down the hallway, and in the meantime, Seaweed had gotten out of the tub, into a towel, and comes out of the room. Me and the night manager jump aside, but 2 cops steamrolled old Seaweed to the floor. But he was soaking wet, and the first cop skidded off of him like a greased pig. The second cop can't get the cuffs on him because he's all soaped up or using bat gel or something. The cop told the judge Seaweed was like a wiry peach pit, and he couldn't find a place to grab onto him. We got off with the best...
He was naked. You know, naked. The towel came off. He couldn't find a spot to grab him.
That's why they called him Seaweed.
Oh.
So he goes on to say that we got off, but the best part was the cop who skidded into the wall sued Seaweed for $150,000, claiming that ever since the incident, he could no longer perform his manly duties at home. I think he settled for $1,500. Can't make this up, guys. I'm telling you. For more stories about Seaweed Petty, check out George Plimpton's book, Open Net. Plimpton had roomed with Seaweed during a Boston Bruins training camp, and his old roomie had a big part in the book. And that, my friends, concludes this week's trip on the Zamboni Time Machine. Seaweed Petty. You know, I think I need to get one of his jerseys.
It's better than his chest catching on fire.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it was... Well, no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, geez.
That was last week.
No, instead he was just naked and got tackled by cops. Hey, you know what?
But they couldn't find anything to hold on to. Scott, it's the little things.
It is. Right? You're right. It is the little things. Absolutely.
Why? Almost the whole show. Why?
Well, you can thank Dale for that.
Yeah, Dale had a very interesting guest the other day. He had a bear at his window.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good. We got to have him back on and hear about that.
Yeah.
Good.
Just make sure you take that sign down.
Well, that sign's down. He's getting a little gift. A gift's being sent out to him. So.
So Dom, I want to thank you for coming on, man. This was great. So why don't you tell us a little bit about where we can find your show and when?
Absolutely. First, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I had a blast. This was terrific. Like you mentioned before, you can check us out, realtalksports.com. There's links for everything. We're at Reile Talk on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, at Reile Talk Hockey on Instagram. Podcast is available everywhere you listen to podcasts, so Spotify, Apple, all that stuff. I try to put it out every Sunday. Our schedule's been a little messy lately with the playoffs because we can't miss our teams, of course. So that's what it is. We bounce around a little bit, but at least every week, and if not a podcast every week, there's definitely a live show every week.
That's awesome. That is awesome. We ought to try to do that sometime. Go live. I might have to steal your idea, Dom.
You should. You know what? It's a ton of fun, and I'll tell you what my favorite part about it is, especially if you don't have a lot to talk about, like during the off season, you have the opportunity for people to comment and just really take the show off the rails. So it's a ton of fun.
We don't need any.
Don't
need any help there.
See, it would be the opposite. We would have people calling in to get the show back on the rails. That's
right.
We're off from like the first.
Yeah, that's great.
First 30 seconds, we're off.
Yeah, it's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. It's better that way.
Yeah, exactly.
People wanted to just see cookie cutter stuff. They'd watch the NHL Network,
Yeah, well, yeah, and the same on the fly 15, 17 times in a row.
Yeah.
But listen, you got to come back on again. This was so much fun.
Absolutely.
So much fun. So you're more than welcome to come back anytime you want.
Absolutely. Anytime. If you want to make it a recurring guest spot every once in a while, let me know. I'm absolutely in for it. Sounds great to me.
I will be blowing your phone up. Don't worry about it.
Perfect. My guy, I can never trying to get a group of my degenerate, just out of college co-hosts to get on a show is impossible. So I can never get them scheduled ever. Anytime you need me, let me know. I'll hop on with you guys.
And likewise, if you ever need me to come on and just be nonsensical, I can do that too.
All right. Enough love.
Yeah. So anyways, thank you, Dom. Thank you very much. And we will be talking to you soon. So that's going to conclude our show. And we just want to let you know that you can find us at martysillegalstick.com. And you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Marty's Illegal Stick Hockey Podcast, and also on all major podcast platforms under My Little Falls. So for Leo Kinville, for Dom Reile, for Jeremy Roberts, and for Dave the Save Warner, I'm Scott Kinville. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.